In 2021, BYU quarterback Zach Wilson was selected in the first round, second overall by the New York Jets as their franchise quarterback of the future. The only problem was he sucked, and he went on to be QB 30 for the next year, and then he is now just a career backup to Aaron Rodgers. So, who is the 2024 version of Zach Wilson? Stay tuned to the Fantasy Football Universe to find out. Not supposed to make me laugh during my intro. Thanks for that.
Hey, listen, is Zach Wilson still in the Jets?
I don't fucking know. As I was saying it, I was like, wait, where's Zach Wilson? Is he on the Jets? I don't even know where he plays anymore.
I think he's somewhere, but I don't know where.
That tells you how big of a bust it was. I think he's on the Jets still. Is he not?
It's possible. That tells you how much we care about Zach Wilson. We just don't even know. Like, I'm not even gonna look it up. I would never look it up. Fuck that guy. I ain't looking it up.
Oh no, never mind. He's gonna be a stud this year because Denver is known for drafting good quarterbacks.
Denver. That's right.
Yeah, he's in Denver. So, as I said, we are here to find this year's version of Zach Wilson. There are certainly plenty of fucking options, as there were 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 picks. So, guys, who is going to be this year's bust out of the top? Well, I think we called it top 6 quarterbacks. We each took one. Do we want to start with Jesse or Jeremy?
Well, I think we have a good segue to my guy because Zach Wilson's teammate Bo Nix is my choice here, going 12th, 13th, one of those numbers.
12th to Denver.
To the Denver Broncos. Good Lord. I mean, Sean Payton got his guy is all I keep hearing. Now, look, Bo Nix was, I think, the second highest producer in college football last year as a quarterback, but he was in that Oregon system, who we all know kind of inflates numbers. And then, we find out that Troy Franklin, even though he had 1,300 yards, goes in the 4th round of the NFL draft. So, I don't know what to say about Bo Nix. Clearly, the NFL doesn't value him as more than the 6th quarterback off the board. He's coming into a terrible situation here, even though he's likely the day one starter because he's competing with Zach Wilson, Ben DiNucci, and Jarrett Stidham. So it's Bo Nix. It's Bo Nix by a mile, but it's also the Spider-Man meme where each of these guys is pointing at the other guy saying, you, me, him. So, look, I mean, what I'm going to say is there's opportunity, of course, but they have kind of mediocre running backs. Javonte Williams, I don't know. He's still recovering and needs that second year to get back. Jesse's porn going up. They have
porn. Sorry.
I don't know what that was. But then they also have, they have mediocre wide receivers and mediocre tight ends. It's just a mediocrity encapsulated here, and I think Bo Nix just falls victim to that, but he's also mediocre himself, so I don't see it happening for him. And look, he's nobody's treasure except for Sean Payton, and those two are a match made in heaven, I guess.
There's some real synergy here to him having to beat out Zach Wilson to be this year's Zach Wilson. That's I like that. What are your thoughts here, Jesse? Why
does a flat circle, baby? Where's McConaughey?
Oh, wait, just let me see where he's going. Where's he going? Bo Nix went 202 to some idiot named Aaron St. Dennis.
Hey, I would have pulled the trigger too. Don't mean we like it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole game.
Oh, I'll pull the fucking trigger. All right.
His Oregon did a better job hiding flaws than basically any college program. And this was also my issue with they love Troy Franklin. I don't. I think this was the big issue with that program. They did a great job of setting these guys up for success. But the problem is if those translates, they don't translate to the NFL. That's where the problem comes in. So yeah, I'm absolutely worried. And by the way, we hype up the other guys for situation. I don't know why people are hyping up this situation. Their talent sucks. Sean Payton's scheme is archaic. It's not as good as we like. We talk about Sean Payton. They have not been running good offense in Denver. It's been really bad. They ran slow. They were like near the league low in plays per game. Like it was not this up-tempo offense. It's not Drew Brees. Everybody thinks it's like, oh, it's gonna be like Drew Brees. No, he's not like Drew Brees. I know we were making that comparison. I just think it's just silly. So I'm out on him more or less. I'll take the shot basically if he's in the 205 range, but that early, man, it's risky. I don't like it. I would much rather take we talk about the wide receivers and running backs, the safer bet on those guys than the quarterback. Even though the ceiling shot is higher, the floor is so much lower. Like it's just so much lower. So I'm really not that interested in Bo Nix from a talent perspective. Just if anybody wants to do it, go for it. I'm not doing it.
But that's exactly why he's shooting up the draft boards. I mean, he got draft capital, but everyone's saying this is like the one landing spot where it's like, ooh, it's exactly what you said. Ooh, that's awesome. He's going to go to Sean Payton's offense and they're going to throw 6-yard slant passes for the next 4 years. And he's going to be Drew Brees and Troy Franklin's going to be Michael Thomas. The only problem is these guys aren't Drew Brees and Michael Thomas. And I've got news for you. As a Saints fan, I don't think this is like where we found out it was mostly Brady and not Belichick. I think it was mostly Drew Brees. I don't think Sean Payton was that good. I think he just had one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. And as we've seen after that, he didn't really do shit. And when he kind of had to adapt to where Drew Brees couldn't do anything, they didn't do much with it because it was all Brees' talent and not so much Payton. So I love Sean Payton. I mean, maybe it's just because every time I see him, I think of Kevin James, but I don't think this is the situation here for Nix. I guess we can move on to Jesse's guy. That would be Minnesota Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan, selected 10th overall. 6'3", 202 pounds on the Vikings now. Why do you hate this, Jesse?
Well, I'm not a big fan of McCarthy. I thought he was fine. Like I thought there were some interesting traits, but he came into the process like when the season ended, like, oh yeah, he's like a round 2, round 1 guy. People like him. There's some upside with there. But you look at his profile, Michigan didn't ask him to do much. And I know we were talking about this. It's because everyone was so talented. Don't you want to put the hands of your team in the quarterback? Like that's the way you want to go with this. Michigan, they were like, no, we're going to ground pound people to death. We don't need JJ McCarthy. All we need him to do is just manage games. And we're talking about him and his Kirk Cousins on offense. Yeah, it's a great landing spot. But like the quarterback needs to be good. This is the biggest thing. I don't know. I didn't see it on film. I know a lot of people said he was QB1 in the class. I was wondering what they were watching because I'm like, you're going to take this guy over Caleb Williams? What are you doing? If you're doing that as a GM, I have some serious questions about your talent perspective. But I think he's fine and he can do well. I just at his ADP and where he's going, he's getting pushed above Drake May. Some people are trying to push him above Jaden Daniels in the rookie draft. When you're doing that and the cost, yeah, that's a hard pass for me. So like I have him at pick 108. I'm fine taking him there. When he gets pushed up above that, yeah, fuck all the Michigan people. I hate them all. That state sucks. Detroit, boo. But no, yeah, I have question marks about how good he's going to be because they're not going to pass the rock like they're doing Cousins. Cousins was throwing it almost 40 times a game last year. They're not going to do that with a rookie quarterback, JJ McCarthy. So I don't see the ceiling case on happening for him for a few years if it does, because they're gonna slowly bring him in. They might have Sam Darnold start the first couple of games. Like they might do that, right? To give him some time. So I know we're super excited. They got their quote unquote rookie quarterback, but I have question marks about his ability to produce because we're just gonna throw him in there. Oh yeah, he's gonna put up 20 points per game. Let's pump the brakes. I just want to be cautious with him. So yeah, I'm at cost. I'm just passing on JJ McCarthy.
Super excited. I'm going from 12 to 6 just thinking about the potential on this one. Fuck that. Team up with Justin Jefferson. Fuck yeah. I'll take him all day. Hell yeah. If you look back at some of his tape in Michigan, which I didn't have to review because I'm a Michigan fan and I watched every single game live. So there may be a little bit of bias here, but he has, I think, the best accuracy and the best arm of any of the quarterbacks in this draft class. He just throws, with the exception of is it Joe Milton, who has a cannon arm, but he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. But I love JJ. I think he can run. I think everyone says, oh, he didn't do shit in the Michigan offense. Well, it goes back to why Blake Corum was successful in our last video. Michigan's offensive line was so much better. All they did was run the ball because that's Jim Harbaugh's archaic fucking offense. Mm-hmm. So why would you have JJ throwing the ball 40 times a game to really one receiver and a tight end when the strength of their game was the run game and their defense? So I love JJ. He went at 104. I don't mind him there. I probably take him. For me, I think I'm taking him 105 or 106. For me, it's Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., then Caleb, then Neighbors, then it's between him and Odunze. So I don't know if I have him as high as people are taking him, but he's in the middle of the first round pick for me here at either 5 or 6. It's him and Odunze on the clock for me.
And as a Patriots fan, I was at the 106, and all three wide receivers had gone. So it was either JJ or Drake May. I took JJ McCarthy, but then I traded up to the 107 and I took Drake May too. So, so it's a tomato over here. But yeah, I think you got the top two QBs, and then you got this smaller, lesser tier of QBs. We don't know what JJ is. We kind of know what Drake May is. They're different quarterbacks, but I think just given the situation, given how they landed, and given how their career is going to play out, I think JJ wins with efficiency. He's got that opportunity to do that again in Minnesota, given that offense around him. Drake May wins with athleticism and a big arm. He's got the opportunity to do that with what they're doing in New England. I'm trying to be optimistic and be a homer here, but yeah, for me, JJ McCarthy is the clear QB3 in this class. He's got it all there, and we haven't seen it completely. But if anyone can put him in a position to succeed, it's Kevin O'Connell.
It's a very good setup for him, 100%.
All right, let's get to the last one here. And this, I'm going to temper this a bit here. He's not a complete bust. I'm taking the other quarterback, as I said, over him. My pick is Chicago Bears #1 pick, Caleb Williams, 6'1", 215. Some have compared him to Patrick Mahomes. I think he's more likely big Kyler Williams. Kyler Murray. Fuck.
Mahomes, Kyler, right, put them together. There you
go. Aaron's stroking out. I don't know.
Aaron is stroking. I'm trying to multitask here and bring up graphics and stuff like that, and apparently it's giving me a goddamn stroke. But anyways, my end point here of why I'm not as high on him, it's not that I think he's a bad quarterback. It's yesterday I was doing our previews here, or I was doing the write-ups for our face-off series, and the first one I did was Caleb Williams, not Caleb Murray, not Kyler Williams, whatever the fuck I said. Caleb Williams against Jaden Daniels. And the problem was Caleb Williams in every single category. The categories we had were size, speed, arm strength and accuracy, arm release and mechanics, college production, QB rating in college, landing spot, and draft capital. In every single category, Caleb Williams was very good, if not elite. But the problem was in over half the categories, Jaden Daniels was just a little bit better. Like size, Jaden Daniels just a little taller. I know you're gonna say, okay, well, he's a lot more slender than Caleb Williams, but with his height, he has a lot more room to get in an NFL weight room and pack on some mass there. I don't expect him. Jaden Daniels is, what do I have him at? 6'4", 210, 214, something like that. I don't expect him to be that slim when he gets into camp. Jaden Daniels will be beefier and more like an Anthony Richardson. We go to speed. Williams was good, 4.59. Daniels was just a little bit better, 4.5. And if you look at the rushing differences, it's night and day. Daniels has a legit rushing upside, like maybe not Lamar level, but he certainly has Richardson level, Josh Allen level, whereas Caleb Williams, it's kind of more like Kyler. He'll scramble when shit breaks down, but he's not running many RPOs. Arm strength and accuracy, I had Caleb Williams graded out into the upper 90s or upper 80s, lower 90s. Jaden Daniels was across the board, low to mid 90s for me, with one of them even being as high as a 95. So then we keep going. Arm release mechanics. Williams was great in all his tape. I liked his mechanics. He had a good release. I just like Jaden Daniels a little bit better. College production was the one. Caleb Williams took that. Same with QBR. And then landing spot, he gets it, but it's a negligible one. The one pick versus the two, it's negligible. It doesn't matter to me. The landing spots, I know everyone's saying Chicago Bears, they loaded up. Everyone, they went from a team nobody wanted to go to now they're a prime landing spot. But I don't know if, this many pieces added in 1 year. This tends to take a lot of time to gel here. You've got a rookie receiver, rookie quarterback. You've got a veteran receiver coming from another team. There's a lot to go here. And in the end, it was very close, but I had Jaden Daniels beating him 4 categories to 3. So I'm not saying I think Caleb is a bust, although I don't think he's the generational prospect. People say he's the safest prospect since Andrew Luck. No, he's not. He's on par with what Trevor Lawrence was a few years ago. We thought Trevor Lawrence was a very good prospect. He is. It hasn't really worked out. Caleb Williams is that. He's not a sure thing. He's a very solid prospect. I just like Jaden Daniels slightly more, and that's why I have Daniels higher, which is weird because I'm typically the anti-rushing quarterback guy. That's my rant. Compare me to RC Fisher all you want. Go ahead, boys. Tear me to pieces.
What are you watching? No, honestly, yeah, I get it. If you want to do the ceiling case, it's Jay Daniels. The one thing I will make the case, and this was also with Trevor Lawrence, his situation, similar to what Jaden Daniels was in last year, the skill position talent around him was so much better. And particularly with Trevor Lawrence, they had a championship level defense on top of it as well. You go to Caleb Williams at USC, that shit was not there. The offensive line was atrocious. The skill position players, while being hyped 5-star, 4-star guys, were not that good last year. So he was doing basically everything. Oh, yeah. And by the way, they had one of the worst defenses in college football. Like, they were giving up 40 points a game. So some of those warts we talk about, they show up a little bit more when you're in worse situations, as opposed to Trevor Lawrence, as opposed to Jaden Daniels. I think if you put Caleb Williams in these really good teams, like you put him on Michigan, he's going to look like one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, because like he could just do all this stuff, right? So it's kind of like you have both sides. Which one's first, the chicken or the egg? I just think he's really, really, really good, and the floor is so high with him. Like, I prefer him over Trevor Lawrence. The one thing I always hated about Trevor Lawrence was he has one of the higher screen rates and like low ADOT among these high caliber, like truly elite quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is willing to chuck it. He's willing to extend plays. This is why I think he's more along the lines of Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to rush a ton. Like, he can give you 400 yards and give or take that, and that's fine. But what he gives you is just the ability to be a floor raiser, and like he lifts all the boats. So like he makes everyone better just by being there. So the talent increases. Caleb, like his wide receiver core looks a little bit better. His tight ends look better. The offensive line looks better because of what he could do and increase them. So I think of all the quarterbacks in this class, he's the one true guy that is going to raise the talent of everyone else around him. And when you notice that, that's when it comes in. And I know it's hard to quantify that, but I think he's like what we talk about can't miss. He's as close to can't miss for me as you can get. I get it if you want to go Jaden Daniels, if you want to go ceiling shot, because rushing is like 2.2 times fantasy 1 point. So I get it, but like I'm not putting Jaden Daniels above him personally.
My only thing is, you said that if he was on Michigan last year, he would have been, awesome, and you would have seen everything. But the problem is, if he was on Michigan last year, he would have never played because he would have been on the bench behind the best quarterback in college football, JJ McCarthy. I don't like your process there. It doesn't check out to me.
All right. So back to reality, right? So the Chicago Bears have GM Ryan Poles, who's been nothing but making moves in the last few years, right? He's totally revamped that offensive line. The defense looks really good. And what did he do? He helped to orchestrate one of the better drafts. Some might say the best draft of the year of 2024, getting Caleb Williams and Roma Doomsday at the top. All right, he's got him a weapon, and he also got a nice backup left tackle in the third round and the fourth round. Picking up wide receivers. So he was doing his best there to kind of make sure and solidify that Caleb Williams has a great spot to land. We talked about the weapons, Keenan Allen coming in a month or two ago and meeting with Williams like during the process. DJ Moore, we know, is an absolute stud. Bringing in Gerald Everett is kind of a really good under the radar move for Caleb Williams and his development. He's going to help to develop Cole Kmet even more. You might see a lot of two tight end sets as well. And I think they'll kind of fluctuate between 2 tight end and 3 wide just to kind of throw variety in the offense. But the biggest thing that I think we're overlooking is that Shane Waldron is in. And Shane Waldron, by all accounts, as an offensive coordinator, has been a guy who is able to kind of open up the field to really just make, an offense much better. We saw what he was able to do in Los Angeles. And I really think they have all of the weapons now in place in year one to make Caleb Williams a top 12 quarterback. That's not going away. So I don't see the case at all. I'm with Jesse here. Caleb Williams, it's an absolute reach. He's going to have to be like all-time Jamarcus Russell terrible to bust at this point. And, I don't see much Ryan Leaf in his profile. So
I think that's very much in the realm of possibility. He will be Jamarcus Russell sitting on the sideline crying to his mommy again. You can quote tweet me saying that on Twitter so that Fantasy Receipts can tag me in it. And then this time next year, I can dunk my balls in their mouth and laugh at them.
Well, I will make sure my mouth is closed.
And on that note, thank you for watching the Fantasy Football Universe, where we looked at the 2024 version of Zach Wilson. Turns out one of them is battling Zach Wilson for his job. So we'll see how that works out. Head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com for all of our content, or follow us anywhere on social media. Like, subscribe, rate, review, all that fun shit. And we will interact with you as often as possible. We answer pretty much every question. If you have some more questions on Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy, feel free to send them my way. Take care, everyone, and have a great day.